Greetings, Earth. Welcome to the Nostalgiaverse.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Katt. With me here is Alex.
Hello.
And Nick.
Moshi moshi.
Today, we have come to a general consensus for our discussion. We're going to talk about the two wonderfully epic TV series, fantasy TV series that aired in the 90s. Hercules, the Legendary Journeys, and Xena, Warrior Princess.
Yeah!
Whoop whoop.
To start with, Hercules, just to kind of give a little bit of a background on the story, the basic story. It's actually a Greek legend of a hero named Heracles, called Hercules in the Roman culture. He's a son of Zeus, half god, half human, who went on many quests, a number of different quests in Greek mythology, tended to side with humans against the gods, because the gods were being very towards the humans on numerous occasions. The series reflects that quite in depth, actually. It ran for 6 seasons, had a number of action figures and other memorabilia. I actually have a 12-inch doll of Ares, the god of war.
Such a cutie.
Right? Which was given to me by a dear friend of mine. It started with several movies in around 94. Hercules and the Amazon Women, Hercules and the Lost Kingdom, Hercules in the Circle of Fire, Hercules in the Underworld, and Hercules in the Maze of the Minotaur. This is mainly dealing with the original legends. And then it expanded into the series and then became this huge thing because everybody just fell in love with it. It spawned Xena, Warrior Princess, and it started actually as the character coming in to Hercules. There was 3 episodes where Xena was a returning character and she was originally supposed to die. But because she was so hugely popular and everybody just really gravitated towards her, they decided to change it, turned it into this really awesome series.
About one hell of a fighter.
Oh, both series, Kevin Sorbo played Hercules, and he had a sidekick played by Michael Hurst. This was Aeolus. And then Xena, played by the ever wonderful Lucy Lawless. And Renee O'Connor played her sidekick as, and now her name just went out of my head.
Gabriella.
Thank you, Gabrielle. The cute little blonde gal in that. There was a number of crossovers between the 2 series. For starters, Xena was in Hercules for 3 episodes, and then that's what spawned the series. But both Aeolus and Gabrielle have crossed over into the other series, along with several characters, including a number of the deities that were featured, Joxer, the King of Thieves. So there were several characters that were actually in both series. Both ran for 6 years, for 6 seasons, and then later, as a spin-off series from about 98, with only 50 episodes in 1 season, it was Young Hercules. It didn't do as well as the other 2, but it was sort of a spin-off. Ryan Gosling was Hercules. Dino Gorman was Aeolus in that. For those of you who have seen The Hobbit, Dino Gorman played Philly in that, just to let you know who that was. And each actor has gone on to do other things. Kevin Sorbo is well known for doing Andromeda, which is a Gene Roddenberry series, for all you Star Trek fans. So, thoughts? Let's start with Hercules. The series overall.
Loved
What
it.
are some of your thoughts and memorable moments in the series? We'll start with you, Nick.
God, throw me on the spot there. Honestly, the one thing that sticks out for me, because I was born 93, as I've said many times. When I was growing up, I remember sitting down and watching, I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was Hercules, Maze of the Minotaur. And that just hooked me on the mythology and everything about Hercules. And honestly, the scene where he's leading them through the maze with the piece of string is what stuck in my mind. And Kevin Sobel's acting.
What are your thoughts about the series overall that you can remember?
Well, that's the thing. I remember virtually all the series, and I've only watched it like a couple of times when I was younger. Like the whole thing a few times. And it's just, yes, it has to deal with the 90s cheese, but
it was good cheese.
It was good cheese, yes. It was something you can get behind. And I just love it still to this day. Honestly, I think it's one of his best works.
Yeah, it's considered action-adventure, sword and sorcery, fantasy, comedy, drama. So it's kind of a rather long, broad list there for its genre. Alex, your thoughts and memorable moments for Hercules?
Actually, I got into the series first before I didn't know it was a mini movie, so I watched it, seeing flashbacks. Like, wait, what this? Oh, it's mini movies? I didn't know this. There were some good parts. There was my best episode when Hercules got married to the that I forgot what they called her. She looked like a centaur, but she was all gold.
Oh, the fawn, the golden hind.
The golden hind. He gave up his powers to be with her. But I think one of my favorite ones, and I'm not really onto this religious one, when the four horsemen showed up.
Oh yes, they did a lot of different crossovers. There was at one point they had, there was the Archangel Michael and the four horsemen of the apocalypse from Christianity, and they had Sumerian deities, and at one point he actually ended up in the British Isles dealing with the Celts. So there was a lot of crossover with other mythologies as well.
Norse. Yeah. And then they create their own deity god named Dayhawk.
Dayhawk.
Because it wasn't...
Yeah.
Dayhawk was like the ultimate evil and everything else, and it wasn't... There was something that was already fan-made, if I remember correctly.
That one I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I would have... because I don't remember that particular episode.
Dayhawk took over Eolos's body. No, I think he took over Eolos's body, or he just possessed him. No, possessed from a servant, and then he impregnated Gabrielle with a daughter for Dayhawk, and yeah.
Yeah, Dayhawk does. I've just looked up here. It does actually possess Aeolus because it's under the same actor's name. Sorry.
Powerful godly entity that is bent on evil, chaos, and destruction had impregnated Gabrielle, the battling bard of Potatidia? Yeah, with his evil daughter. When Gilgamesh killed Aeolus, the evil god took over Aeolus' body. Dayhawk had made his way into killing the Sumerian gods and the Druids. He also eliminated the Norse gods and the Greek gods, but was stopped by the combined effort of Hercules and Aeolus in a spiritual battle. You know what? I honestly don't know.
Yeah, actually
the origin of that particular one.
I think it's fan made.
I
honestly think it's not. So
it is.
I would say not fan made. I may put the writers. It sounds like the ultimate evil in Buffy.
Oh, okay. Here we go. In mythology, Zahak is an evil figure from Persian mythology, and Dahak is a demon in Zoroastrianism. See list of theological demons. So he does have actually a
mythos.
Counterpart in mythology. He's considered a demon.
So he's Sauron. Okay. Yeah, I would say it's Sauron because I'm like I remember that episode when Hercules is talking one of the fire titans in the volcano. It's like, oh yeah, we fought we beat him until Zeus came out of nowhere and beat us when we were weak. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay.
But so, Katt, what is your favorite bits?
Oh God, it's actually been a long time since I've seen it because I haven't seen it since it originally aired. Just the overall feel of the show. There's that close camaraderie between Hercules and Aeolus, and I personally always liked Aeolus. I thought he was a fun character, really interesting persona within the series. The dynamic between Hercules and the gods is very interesting because Hera hates Hercules, but Zeus loves him. It's well documented. And Hera is always trying to thwart Hercules' efforts on behalf of the humans. I do distinctly remember, if I remember correctly, which show it's from. There was a show that dealt with they're going through these woods and these male griffins actually attack. In mythology, male griffins don't have wings. Only the females do. That's how you distinguish between the two. And these were specifically male griffins because they lurked around in the trees. They didn't fly. They had no wings. I remember when he went to British Isles and dealt with the Celts. There's so many just little things. And you see Ares all the time. It's his half-brother, who is, on the one hand, interesting and can be charming, and he's downright horrible. On the other hand, he's he can be such a jerk. But he was fun. The overall feel for me of the series, it was a lot of fun, a little bit of campiness, but not overly so. Not like the '60s Batman series. It was enough camp to be fun, enough comedy to be fun. But it was primarily an action adventure fantasy drama. And yes, there were some hilarious bits in it, and I remember just dying of laughter on many occasions because it was so funny. I loved the series. And when Xena came into it, I was like, "Oh, hey." That turned into a series. So I was like, "Okay, this has become even more awesome, especially when you had the crossovers between the two." Which leads us into Xena discussion with about Xena. Now, an interesting thing I wanted to point out: Joseph Laduca is the composer for the for the music for both Hercules and Xena, and for the Young Hercules series. Just kind of a point of note there. Earlier in a previous episode, we had talked about music and geek culture, so this kind of refers back to that. Xena, the difference in the theme between Hercules and Xena. Hercules, it was all instrumental. With Xena, it was operatic. You had vocals, which kind of stood it apart a little bit. And I could hear them playing in my head right now, so it's very cool. I still remember the theme for both of them.
Remember that one episode? It was like fourth wall episode, and all of them are in the urinal whistling.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, I remember that now.
Yeah.
I want to do that one these days with the other people in the bathroom and record it.
Well,
okay.
I was just going to say something. The two shows were composed by the same guy, as you said, but the difference between the two themes show what a composer can actually do. You can go one route for one thing and then go a completely different route and still have the same impact.
Yeah. Truly good composers have the ability to create unique music for different projects, and they all sound different. And some of them actually put just this little bit that is common throughout all of their different projects, a certain feel or a certain sequence of notes that you will find in all of their work. It's like a signature for an artist. When you look at a painting, it's much the same thing with musical composers as kind of a note. And the feel of the Hercules and theme and the Xena theme is part of that signature that Joseph LaDuca used to identify, yes, this is mine. I did this kind of thing. And people, audiophiles and people that are sensitive to that, or who are really, really heavily into music, will notice the parallels and similarities in one person's body of work versus another person's body of work, and it gets to the point where it's easily recognizable.
Yeah.
As, oh, that's this person did that. There was, at one point, I would be going to movies, I would be listening. That sounds like this guy's work. Oh, yep, there he is. So it becomes a signature, the tone and sometimes a sequence of notes. Just as a kind of a side note there. And again, this all refers back to our music and geek culture podcast earlier on. Xena, going back to that, Xena had been praised by critics for having a strong female protagonist. She wasn't treated like a lot of leading female characters had been previously. She was strong, she was a fighter, every bit the counterpart to Hercules. It was very well received for that reason. And a lot of people have taken huge influence from that, feeling that, oh, I don't have to be this. I can be myself. I can be my own person. I can be, assertive and still be a woman. A lot of that comes from the way Xena was handled. I actually have a local friend, who did a cosplay as Xena. A lot of people thought she was actually Lucy Lawless because she looks just like her, only not quite as tall. She got to hear a lot of stories about how huge of an impact Xena had on their lives. A positive impact.
She left her village because she took a tantrum and still took a tantrum and tried to take over everything until she realized, I have an army because I took a tantrum and I didn't want to do everything. So I grew up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it me, or was the two series a little bit different from each other? Like, one was light and the other one was darker?
A little bit, yeah. And both had their darker moments, and both had their more lighthearted moments. The overall theme was a little bit different between the two. Yeah, and it shows that you can make mistakes and then learn from them and choose a different path. Even when your initial path goes completely in a different direction, and then you realize, oh, wait, it's never too late to change the path you're on. And that kind of shows that. You guys have any particular thoughts or memorable moments from Xena?
Well, I remember this one episode. It was an alternate episode when Ares got locked into that temple for years, and during World War One, they found Xena chakram, and chakra and Xena. I think Wanda was the reincarnation of Xena, and she just took over that body. And the other person who played Gabrielle was an archaeologist, and realized, wait, I'm the sidekick. I'm like, what? I'm the sidekick, and then then Joxer was a French spy, no, French agent. And he was actually less cooler. He was cooler in that one than he was Joxer. He didn't feel like he was Joxer till the end, but and then Xena kind of talked about Gabrielle was my friend and everything else, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, her reaction is like, I was the sidekick. It's like, and the whole point in that story that Ares wants to leave the temple and he can't is I think was the I'm not sure, and Katt, you could correct me. I think it was the chakra or whatever that was. I think her chakra was the one that was keeping Ares in the temple. I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a little bit fuzzy because I don't think any of us have seen it in a while. But it's
Yeah.
I remember that. I just remember that one quote of Gabrielle's reincarnate. But yeah, just like I'm the psychic.
and a very lovely one at that. I should say.
Yeah.
Then it was the other reincarnation episode. I think their soul was reincarnated to a different body that like he was in. Xena was in the male body and Joxer was in the female body until they swap bodies again.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was hilarious.
That was hilarious. I just seen like Xena, Joxer in that female body of Xena portraying singing Joxer the Mighty song. I'm like, yay!
That's funny.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but for me, one of the things that sticks in my head is there was an episode of either Xena or Hercules, and Joxer and Aeolus were in it together for a full episode.
Oh God, I remember that.
Oh, the Pigules episode when Hercules got turned into a pig.
Yes.
That's the one that for some reason, just because it had Joxer and Gabriella, and I think Xena at one point, that stuck in my head as a really good crossover episode, just because it was really good.
Yeah.
Which one are you referring to? Is that the one that Hercules almost committed murder? Got framed for killing his wife, and Xena and Gabrielle showed up at the end. Pretty much didn't do much of anything. Yeah.
I think that's the one because it was all about Aeolus and Joxer trying to prove his innocence.
Yes, what's Hercules was so special? He doesn't have his powers, and freaking Aeolus knocked him once. Like, don't ever say that.
It's a really good nostalgia trip, like.
Yeah. As you're going through remembering bits and pieces and stuff, yeah, we all kind of need to sit down and watch this again. I had planned on it and it never happened. The spin-off series. Interestingly enough, Xena actually ran for more episodes than Hercules. Hercules had 111 episodes plus 5 pilot television movies. Xena had 134 episodes. Both had 6 seasons, but Xena had a few more episodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when they got to the Christianity part towards the end, it kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, that's when you knew it was at its end.
And then just to the fact that, I like that one scene of like, Xena's gonna become the queen of Christian hell. It was like, wow. That was just kind of messed up. That was kind of messed up when they did it.
Yeah.
It was messed up. It was just, I'm like, and then he just kept it loose for, oh, well, you're going to hell instead of me. And Xena's daughter, don't you ever do that. Oh, wait, it was a trick? Don't you ever do that. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Xena actually features Egyptian, Indian, as in East Indian, Chinese, Central Asian, medieval European elements. It was very flexible in where it went and the different things that was dealt with. It was primarily Greek. There's a lot of parallels, and yeah, there was different things came into it. Later, towards the kind of the middle end of the run of these two series, Young Hercules, which ran from September 12th, 98 to May 12th, 99, 50 episodes, one season. Young Hercules, again, dealing strictly with Hercules and Aeolus.
And Jason of the Argonauts.
And Jason of the Argonauts do as well. And I remember towards the end of the Hercules series, they were doing some flashbacks to young Hercules, because I never actually watched young Hercules myself, but I remember
Yeah.
seeing several flashbacks that referred to the young Hercules series or events in that series.
It was flashbacks, because they were showing flashback in the Legendary Journeys, not the actual TV series. The TV series, because it was a Fox Kids show, it was meant to fail because it's Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Because Power Rangers overshadowed every show on Fox Kids.
I watched it in the late 90s, and I can definitely tell you it wasn't 100% brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Crank the 90s cheese to nearly 11.
Oh, God.
Because he was supposed to be younger and all that, and it just, for the most part, I think it dealt with the 12 trials that he was meant to do, but it lost.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was training on the Philippines to be a hero with Elois and Jason. Stuff his life lessons he learned. And there's this one thing that he joined the bandits, I think, and he stole something, and Zeus teach him a lesson and took away his powers for a day. But it was teaching him a lesson on certain things, and there were certain life lessons and certain episodes he's fighting, but it was pretty much how that was. But it was bad. It was meant to fail. But what killed it, because everyone on Fox Kids, everyone was into Power Rangers, everyone was into X-Men, everyone was into Spider-Man. So those three main shows pretty much actually, it was bad anyway, but that overshadowed everything.
Yeah, it overshadowed it. Another point of difference between Young Hercules and Xena, Hercules and Xena were hour-long episodes, roughly 45 minutes plus commercials. Young Hercules was about 21 and a half minutes long. So it was a half-hour episode. These were half-hour episodes. So if you put them together, it was 50 episodes plus pilot, which kind of brings it down to about 25 and a half episodes equivalent to Hercules and Xena in actual runtime. So while it says that there's 50 episodes plus the pilot, it's actually a lot shorter than you would expect, because they are in fact meant to be half-hour episodes. Because it was aired here in the U.S. as a kids show. It was run on Fox Kids Network.
I think that was the same over here in Britain, but that's how bad it was. I got it mixed up, and I just it was that bad. I think I actually mentally blocked it out.
Yeah, all three were filmed in New Zealand, countryside. I swear. Yeah, same place where they filmed The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, actually. Maybe not some, and possibly some of the same actual specific locations too. But these were all filmed in New Zealand, and beautifully filmed. No matter how good, bad, or indifferent the individual episodes were between the three series, it was spectacularly filmed. A lot of the cinematography is beautiful. And New Zealand is very well showcased. Its landscapes and stuff is very well showcased in these. Another sort of side project that came into this was Hercules and Xena, the animated movie, the Battle for Mount Olympus, that was related to these. It featured Kevin Sorbo, Lucy Lawless, Michael Hurst, Renee O'Connor, Kevin Smith, Alexandra Tidings, and David Mackey. Again, music by Joseph LaDuca. So they come back, they reprise their respective roles as their characters, but it's an animated film. It was an 80-minute animated movie. This one I personally have not seen. I wasn't as much into animation at that time when this came out in early 98. At that point I was watching things like, I don't know, Sentinel. So
artwork rings a bell to me. I think I might have watched it once, but it just the style of artwork. That's all. I just can't remember anything of it.
Yeah, it was direct-to-video. It was Universal's first and only direct-to-video animation film to be rated PG, and it's the only animated one to have been designated that rating until 2010's theatrical hit Despicable Me. You've got Hercules, Xena, Iolaus, Gabrielle, Alexander Tidings as Aphrodite, Kevin Smith, Ares, Josephine Davidson as Artemis, and Alcemene. Joy Watson as Hera, Peter Rowley as Zeus, David Mackey, Porphyrion, Alison Wall as Tethys and Mnemosyne, and others. It was nominated Outstanding Individual Achievement for Music in an Animated Feature Production. So it was actually, it was nominated for award in 98. Like I said, I never saw this, but then it was direct to video. And it wasn't really mentioned all that terribly much that I remember, because I don't remember hearing about it at the time.
Like I say, it was 98, so I was about 5 at the time, so I believe I might have watched it. It seems like something I might have watched, but just my memory's fried at the moment.
Yeah, it's Universal Home Video, Renaissance Pictures, and Universal Cartoon Studios. Art style is kind of reminiscent of the Disney's Hercules movie. It kind of reminds me of that, the style in the art. I don't know if that means they just adopted that style or that they had some of the same artists, but the style is very similar. The art style is very similar to the Disney Hercules movie. There's that.
I'm just checking something. So, yeah, what you were saying, the Disney movie, Hercules, was released 97. So this Xena and Hercules was released actually a year later.
So they could very well have adopted that style to sort of carry over some of the success of the Disney movie. Who knows? But who can say what reasoning anybody has for adopting a particular style for an animated film anymore? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Back to the core series, the two, Hercules and Xena. Let's see. These were all done by Universal, of course. Renaissance Pictures was the production company for Hercules, Xena, and Young Hercules, which would be the New Zealand reference there, if I remember correctly. Both Hercules and Xena, for anybody who wants to watch them, it's on Netflix in the US. Complete series. I haven't looked for Young Hercules.
Oh, just while we're mentioning a few things, I noticed something before when I was looking through the Young Hercules casting. Iolaus in that series, Dean O'Gorman.
Dean O'Gorman, yes, and for those who recognize the name, he was Fili in The Hobbit. Of the two brothers, Fili and Kili, he was the blonde one. Not the dark-haired one.
Yep.
That was Aiden Turner.
And I thought the name sounded familiar, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So he literally moved onwards from his career. He literally went up in the world. A lot of actors have gone up in the world as well, from what they would be known as campy stuff, but you gotta love the campy sometimes. You gotta just love it.
Yeah. And I just did a quick search. The Hercules and Xena movie and Young Hercules are not on Netflix. But the Hercules Legendary Journeys and Xena Warrior Princess, the two core series, are in fact on Netflix. I actually have them in my Netflix queue.
And I will say this as well. You can buy them on Amazon, because I looked that up as well.
Yep.
Just for personal interest.
Yep. They are available on Amazon if you wish to buy them, if you like them enough to own them. If you haven't seen them and want to watch them, like I said, you can catch them on Netflix in the US. I'm not sure about other countries. I don't think they're on in the UK. I think you mentioned that.
I mentioned that before, and as far as I'm aware of recently, no.
Okay.
So, yeah.
For Canadian listeners, you can check Netflix Canada and see if it's on there, so that you can find it there. And like Nick said, Amazon as well. Any additional thoughts Anybody would like to offer in regards to the whole Hercules Xena phenomenon, as it has come to be known as?
Do 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 do. Series as a whole, it has its good parts, its bad parts, and it has its funny parts. And I wanted to say this during the Xena chat when they did the episode of a Wild West episode with daggers.
Oh, jeez.
You don't remember that, don't you?
No, I don't, but it sounds like it's hysterically funny.
It is funny because Xena was the time she was being pregnant with Eve, and they were in this village, and one of them was friends with Xena, who has a freaking, I don't know, cowgirl hat and wearing like Greek clothing, but is in a Western theme. Yeah, and they're all like doing a Western theme in that episode, and I'm like, oh, with daggers.
That honestly sounds really goddamn interesting.
Yes, I'm just yeah, yeah. It was just hilarious to watch. That was my one bit for Xena. And as for when Hercules, there was like actually the Druid one, the Druid when she went to Druids and the Druids in the Celtic part. Love that character. Who was I wish that character was around more often because I liked her. You know what I'm talking about. That one I was like, as for back to Xena, and I'm trying to remember here because that was another. I can't remember now. It was crud. I just lost the thought because all that awesomeness of Hercules.
It happens.
Oh man, it derped on me. It derped. The whole change when Gabrielle was like switched from the staff to the scythe. That's actually pretty epic. When I never liked the short hair look. I missed the long hair, but yeah, the series as a whole, awesome. I was upset they killed off Joxer as an old man, but old man Joxer was better than regular Joxer because he wasn't much, bumbling around. But still, and the best part is that he tells stories. He lied about everything to his son because he knew he was going to get in trouble, so he actually told him the truth. It's like, yeah, that was Xena instead of me. Oh, okay, I forgive you, Dad. Yeah, he was just saying it just because he knew he was going to get in trouble.
My final thought quickly is that if you haven't seen them, either try to get them as a whole, or if you can watch them as a whole, like together in one sitting, which is going to be physically impossible because that would be 12 seasons. But yeah, if you've got
40 something episodes plus 5 mini movies, yeah.
5 mini movies.
That's
but yeah,
a lot.
honestly, if you don't know anything about Hercules or Xena from these shows or what we're talking about, honestly, if I would say go watch them just any way you can. They're brilliant. Yes, they have their 90s cheese, but it's what makes the series in my eyes.
Yeah, at the very least, watch like the first 2 to 5 episodes of each series. Check them out, see what you think. They're definitely worth checking out and watching because they're a lot of fun. They really are. They were kind of, in many ways, breakout roles for a number of different people. You can look them up individually on IMDb and see other things that they've done, like Kevin Sorbo doing Andromeda and other stuff that he's done. And Lucy Lawless and her various... I mean, she was in Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series, as one of the human form Cylons.
Yeah, I call her Xena Cylon.
Here's something recently for Kevin Sorbo. Those who are fans of the show Critical Role, he recently did a movie with Matthew Mercer from that, the DM. It was something about a necromancer and all that, and it just screams Kevin Sorbo, the film.
Interestingly enough, Lucy Lawless is also in Spartacus, and in 2003 she did a season of a series called Warrior Women.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that is on Netflix.
Now I remember what it was now.
Oh, okay.
The alternate dimension when Hercules was evil.
Oh, now I remember it.
Oh, God.
The Solver, when Ares was the god of love.
Oh, my God.
The god of war turns into the god of love.
Oh, my God.
God, yes.
Oh, God, that was so funny.
I forgot what Hera was. She was like goddess of poetry or something. I can't remember what was Hera. She's something. Yeah, it was the garden goddess of garden. I was like, oh my god, that was my one moment. Also, before I back, Kevin Sorbo did replace his role as Hercules in God of War 3.
Oh yeah, I
Wow.
completely derped on that.
Yeah, he got killed by Kratos, but still, it was kind of freaking awesome. But yeah,
Wow.
I didn't even know that, and I've played the game.
Well, hey, there you go then. Hercules and Xena. Young Hercules, if you can find it. You might be able to find it on DVD if you want to try and catch it. Hercules and Xena is on Netflix if you want to check it out and see if you like it. If you like it enough to buy it, you can get it on Amazon. A lot of fun.
Very much so.
Funny as hell. Full of action, full of humor, full of lots of great stuff. Some really, really good actors in the show. And great music. Come see us again for our next episode.
a very, very special sci-fi nerdy episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all we can say right now.
Yes.
Good night.
And I.
Night, guys.